welcome back to Peerless Watercolors members only video group, and today we're going to be doing the second beetle of our little beetle study. And this one is basically the same techniques. We just kind of want to go over and do an overview of how we did it, just to kind of give you a second go out of it, and also to kind of practice how you do those realistic paintings. And so this one, we're going to keep the beetle in the view on the screen here. It's going to be over on the left hand side throughout the whole video, so you can have it as your reference. But just like the last one, we're going to start off by transferring our image onto our watercolor paper. You can either use a light box, you can sketch it, or you can hold it up in a window with the light behind it and use a kind of window light box that way. Alright, so once you have your outline done on your watercolor paper, it is time to start painting. So looking at a reference photo, we are going to be doing the back shell of the beetle, and it's kind of those goldeny colors, and it has all the kind of texture. So what we're going to do is we're going to create those textures with the black later. So now we're just going to fill the entire back of the beetle with yellow, and as you can see, there's a softness on the edges that is kind of like that dark golden color, and then the brighter yellow that's kind of like that bright gold. So we're going to lay down brilliant yellow first, and then where all of those areas that are kind of the darker golden, we're going to do the first layer of the flesh tint, and that's when it's still wet, and you're going to get a nice soft blend between the gold, the bright gold, brilliant yellow, and this flesh tint. And then we need to color shift that orange color. So I'm going to be using mahogany brown here in a minute, once I get those edges and all of the orange tones in there. And the mahogany brown is going to shift it to more of a golden. So I love the mahogany brown. It has like a nice warm tone to it. And so when you layer it over the orange and the yellow, you get a really rich, beautiful color, and it looks a little bit more of like that actual kind of brownish golden tone than like kind of like a fake. I feel like a fake gold tone is more of an orange yellow, but then a real gold tone, you get some of those brown earthy tones in there too. So once you're at this point, then you're gonna add that mahogany brown on top of it and see how it just mutes that orange. But you really need to have that orange underneath it to give it that total tone that we're looking for. So once we do that, we will let that area dry and we'll work on the next section. Now that that area is kind of letting it dry before we do the next layer, we are going to go around and add all of our cool tones of our blue, purples, and pinks. So I am going to be starting off with the sky blue, and then I think this is actually the pink from the pack. So it doesn't have quite the punch of the pink in the beetle, but I'm not worried about that because we are going to go back and use our metallic pink, which gives it that shimmer. So even if the base is, you know, close enough to a pink, don't worry about being at a hot pink. We're still trying to use all of the colors from the Peerless pack, like the complete edition, and that pop of that hot pink is going to come later when we put our metallics over it. So right now we're just kind of mixing the pink. I'm using a tiny bit of the purple and the sky blue, and I'm just kind of letting those colors meld and mush together. And then once you do those, we're going to go along all the edges and the arms and tentacles of our beetle. Alright, so now we're going to do the legs and the tentacles and all of the little arms. And the first layer of all of these is going to be the sky blue. And then after that, we're going to let those ones dry before we do any of our next layers for those guys. Alright, so now that we have all of the legs done, I am looking at the upper part of the body and then that little head area, and it's just not quite enough packed with color, especially with watercolors. They're transparent with the amount of water that you add to them. Peerless watercolors are some of the most vibrant watercolors that I've ever used. That's why I love them so much, but even so, sometimes you need a second layer to get the bright and vivid colors that I want. And you can see on our reference photo that beetle is super bright and super vivid. So I'm just going to go through with the same colors I used before, and it's the sky blue, the pink, and a little bit of the purple. Careful with the purple. The purple gets very dark very quickly, so you want to make sure that is a little bit more transparent and diluted with water. But you can see now that there's a little bit more of a oomph to that second layer. That's what we're looking for. And all right, and so after that, we are going to be doing the second layer on the shell on the main body of the beetle. And all of those little outlines we did in our outline from a reference photo, we are going to fill in with straight black. So we're not going to be diluting this at all. You want to go straight from the last page in your Peerless pack, which is the, I think, pearl gray, and then straight there, so you get as much of that pigment on your brush as possible, because you don't want to have to do multiple layers of this. You just want to be able to get a nice, rich, concentrated, dark layer of that black gray, and then you're filling in all of those little spaces that you created, and then once those are filled, you're going to very gently and make a small line towards the end or the butt area of the beetle, and that's going to give it kind of all of those it's almost, I don't think it's actually shadows on the main beetle, but I think it's the way that the reflection works with the, like, it's almost like that metallic top of it. So we're just trying to make those look super sharp and intense. And then after that, we are going to darken all of the legs of the beetle. And we are going to use that same pearl gray, and we're going to outline all of the legs on the body of the beetle and get them to be nice and rich and dark as well. So one of my favorite things about these bugs and these beetle studies is the use of metallics. And so you can obviously tell that this beetle is a gold shimmering metallic beetle, and what better to do the highlights than with an actual gold. So when you tilt this painting back and forth, it is going to shimmer an actual metallic gold. And so all of those negative space lines, you don't want to put any of the gold over the black because the pigment is very strong in Peerless, that it will make like a gold line over the black. So you want to just do the gold over the yellow to orangey areas and avoid all of the black. So you want those still to be, you know, intense black blocked areas. And then once you're done with all of the gold, we're going to use the liquid pink. I think it's bubblegum pink. And you're going to put that on the top part. And then that's going to create the iridescent metallic sheen over those purple and blue areas. So when you tilt the page, you get the metallic over that as well. And here you can see it kind of transfers that kind of more of a subtle pink into that hot pink that looks much more like our reference photo. And then I do go back and I add a little bit on the legs as well, just because there's a little bit of that pink shimmer. And then it just beautifully mixes with the blue and the black, and it just creates that enough metallic sheen over all of the body's pieces, little pieces, that you'll be able to see it in a minute. When you move it in the light, it just looks so pretty. And absolutely love the metallics for Peerless. And if you don't have them yet, I would highly recommend trying them. You can turn any painting into kind of like more of that more subtle, flat kind of, still very gorgeous, but into like a three-dimensional shimmering awesomeness with these metallics. So super fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And if you try this tutorial at home, make sure to tag Peerless Watercolors. We would love to see your paintings and post it in our group. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.